Iran's help to battle ISIS in exchange for concessions on Iran's nuke program. The Wall Street Journal reports he sent a secret letter last month to Ayatollah Khamenie looking for cooperation against the terror network. Ambassador John Bolton thinks that that's never going to happen.
Notion of cooperating against ISIS sounds superficially appealing, but the fact of the matter is our differences with Iran are far greater than any common interest regarding ISIS. In this Middle East, which is descending into chaos, Iran remains America's principal adversary.
House Speaker John Boehner is also voicing concern over the report.
I don't trust the Iranians. I don't think that we need to bring them into this. And I would hope that the negotiations that are underway are serious negotiations, but I have my doubts.
The White House isn't commenting on the correspondence, but is denying a plan to team up against ISIS.
I think you know that I'm not going to comment on any private communication between the president and any world leader. But I will say this. First of all, as I've said repeatedly in public, and others have too, we are in no way engaged in any coordination, military coordination with Iran on countering ISIL.
All right, Bob, let me ask you about this. That's the John Hay Initiative, which is a group that is trying to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, said that the November 24th deadline that was established by the president and the world community, it's rapidly approaching. It's just a couple weeks away. And every indication is that should the administration strike a deal with Iran, it will fail to stop or even set back in any significant way the regime's nuclear program. And then Iran would be a nuclear country with a threshold to be able to wage war with nuclear weapons. Is a deal at any cost so important to the administration?
Well, no, it's not, and it shouldn't be. And I don't think the Iranians are in a position yet, for another year anyway, to put a nuclear weapon on a missile and fire it. But leaving that aside, why not communicate with them during this? Roosevelt did that with Stalin. We hated the Russians. We joined together to fight a common enemy. I think if Iran's willing to join us and with influence,
well, maybe
let me explain why I'm not out of my mind. Because the attacks by this group on Iran is real, and they're worried about it, and they want to stop.
Out of your mind, if you think Iran has anything other than getting a nuclear weapon so that they can at least threaten Israel and put Israel back on its heels, and we're foolish to pull the sanctions. We should have kept them in place. We've got to stop sending secret letters. The Ayatollah, who really runs the show there, not the president, the mullahs run the show in Iran. You're out of your mind if you think you're going to change their view on Israel or the West. They hate us. They'll always hate us. And with them, with the bomb, makes this place a lot more scary.
I'm not out of my mind about this. They have their self-preservation in mind, and that is to keep ISIS away from Iran. And it trumps everything in Iran right now.
It's almost as if we had, like, the president has basically boxed himself into a choice between two bad things, which is we need help to, well, I don't know if we need Iran's help, but we need to destroy and degrade ISIS, and we really don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. So at this point, the president is sort of betwixt and between.
That's true. We've got to stop calling them Iranians and calling them Uranians.
Oh, okay. That'll help.
I actually I agree with Bob in the sense in the past we have communicated with our adversaries. We communicated with the USSR during the Cold War. That's what we do. But the problem is, it's not the action, it's the actor. We have a problem with President Obama, who seems to be the weakest, least competent car salesman on the lot. He would trade a Porsche for a Pinto. If you think he's going to give the olive branch, he's going to give away the whole tree. And I think that's why what scares us is we don't trust him. We trust a strong, patriotic leader to have these secret meetings, but we can't trust him with the secret deal. He's not Churchill, he's Chomsky. So we don't like it. We like the action because maybe it'll help, but we don't like the actor.
And talk about being caught in the middle, Kimberly, are the our allies in the fight against ISIS, the Sunnis, who are basically worried about the ISIS threat to them and also the Iranian threat. And then the president, I'm not against him necessarily sending letters if that's what he wants to do to try to box them in. But what about our allies?
The Sunnis are in a squeeze play, but I also look at it in a more global perspective. We've got to keep that in play over here, but we also have to understand our relationship with Israel. And let's not be, naive and stupid to think that we can get in bed with Iran, like naked, vulnerable, starving, alone with the devil. I don't think so. Why do we need them? Rely on American strength and independence to make the right military decisions. We can do this
And if
on our own.
and Bob, if the
so what do we
sanctions-
have to gain? Which just weakens our bargaining position to come to the table with
president-
Iran, and they'll lie anyway.
The president
Please.
said in his statement in press conference the other day that the sanctions are working. So why not allow them to keep working?
Press.
I mean, he also just sent double the number of American forces to go and help the Iraqis in order to fight ISIS.
Yeah, but there's a difference between the sanctions they have on now and getting a nuclear deal. And I think that's really what's imperative here. And the Iranians may not be willing to do it. If they're not, within a year, the United States ought to join forces with Israel and take it
They're
out.
going
Can I ask
to
you,
violate
what's
it.
in it for us to do a deal with Iran?
Nothing.
What's in it for us?
Nothing.
What's in it for us is to keep, hopefully, is to keep Iran not being as aggressive in that region.
For 3,000 years, 2,000 years
It's
they've
going to
been.
make Valerie Jarrett very happy.
Right.
Right.
That's what it
That's
is.
in it for us.
Okay. Well, hopefully this is not just based on hope. Coming up.